You're listening to an encore presentation of Life Talk with Wade Sorochan. Highlights of previous shows featuring special guests and open line discussions. Since this is a pre-recorded presentation, please do not call. And now, Live Talk with Wade Sorochan on AM 930, The Light.
There was a real cute story the end of last week about a 10-year-old Wisconsin girl. She has a rock-solid excuse for missing the last day of school. It's a personal note to her teacher from President Barack Obama. 10-year-old Kennedy Corpus got a great start to her summer vacation with a personal note from President Barack Obama excusing her absence from her last day at school. The fourth, now fifth grader at Aldo Leopold Community School in Green Bay received a handwritten excuse note from the president after her father, John Corpus, stood up to ask a question and mentioned that his daughter was missing school. And joining me on the phone line right now, I believe I have both of them, 10-year-old Kennedy Corpus and Father John Corpus from Wisconsin. First of all, John, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Wade. Glad to be here.
And hi to Kennedy.
Hi, too.
Well, it's nice to have you both here. John, let's start with you because obviously you were instrumental in going to this town hall meeting and bringing your daughter. Did Kennedy want to come with you, or was this just something you invited her to come? How did that work out, first of all?
Well, they had a lottery system here for the tickets, and there was only about 1,500 people that were going to be able to go. None of us in the family were selected for the lottery. But I just happened, coincidentally, to be talking to the mayor about a fundraising event he has coming up. I called him that night, and he said he didn't have time to talk. Could we talk at the event? And I said I wasn't going. He said, do you need tickets? So he got me tickets at 9:30 at night, and actually dropped them off to the house. And Kennedy was up with me, so he said, so I suppose you're taking Kennedy to it? And I said, that's a great idea. And I thought about it. My wife doesn't really get into politics or these kind of things, so it worked out perfectly for Kennedy.
Now,
and she did want to go. She was all, please take me.
Well, who wouldn't want to be excited? I mean, adults, kids, everybody wants to be in a room when Barack Obama is speaking, so obviously you were thrilled to be able to go. So when you got there, did you know that you were going to be able to ask a question, or how did they handle the question period?
We knew that he was going to take questions, and we knew that they weren't going to be pre-viewed. So what he said after he finished his speech is, now I'd like to take questions from the audience, and I'll go girl, boy, girl, boy. So there was a woman who was selected first, and the mic runner just happened to be next to me. I was 3 seats off the aisle on the other side of the gymnasium. And I said, hey, if you don't have a male selected, I'll ask a question. And it just worked out.
And from what I understand, are you in the healthcare profession?
Yes, I work with Bell Health System here. It's one of the systems that President Obama was talking about, and one of the reasons that he came. We've got a national reach with employers and with retail health clinics, and it's not just us. He was here because all the systems in town are pretty good, but we like to think we're up there with anybody nationally.
Okay, so you got to ask your question. You stand up and you start asking your question. And the first thing you said was you said that you brought your daughter Kennedy with you, and you said how you hope she doesn't get into trouble. So take us from that point, because when he responded to you didn't believe him when he said, "Well, would you like me to write a note?"
Sure. I just thought of my question like a minute and a half before I raised my hand, simply because my daughter wanted a little bit more excitement. The mic runner was right there. I thought, well, maybe it's kind of meant for me to ask a question. And so I was really focused on it. And when he said that, quickly what popped into my head is, don't lose that. Let's put that in our back pocket. So I said, actually, I'll take you up on that. But then I started to, go with my question still. And wasn't even thinking at all that he was actually writing a note. It didn't click in my head until he was actually walking back down, and Kennedy was walking up to get the note, and I saw the cameras. I just heard all the clicks and everything. You could feel it all move in there, just right to focus on her.
All right. Well, let's bring in Kennedy now. Kennedy, when the president said that he was going to write a note for you to give to your teacher, did you believe him?
No, I didn't. Not till he started walking down.
And as he's walking down to your chair, how were you feeling at that point and all the cameras around you?
I was excited and scared.
All at the same time, right?
Yes.
And so he handed the piece of paper directly to you. You grabbed it from him?
Yes, I did.
Did you say thank you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And what did he say when he gave you the piece of paper?
He said, "Here you go, Kennedy."
And then everyone was taking your picture. And, and then you looked at it. Now, tell us what the note says.
It says, "To Kennedy's teacher, please excuse Kennedy's absence. She's with me, Barack Obama."
And how's his handwriting? Because he's a left-hander. Is he a pretty good handwriter?
Yeah. That's the first comment that everybody says when they see the note.
That he's got really good handwriting.
Yeah.
Now, it was just on a piece of scrap paper, right?
Right.
And okay, so you have it now, and everyone's taking your picture, and then he goes back up and continues on with questions and everything. Did you, at that point, did you think, what am I going to do with this? Did you already think you were going to save it, frame it? What were your thoughts when you had this piece of paper as far as what you were going to do with it from now on?
I wasn't really thinking about what I was going to do with it until my dad told me that I should frame it, because I was more focused on, wow, look at what this letter says, and I got this letter.
Yeah. Well, you knew that it was pretty special. I mean, not everyone gets a little hand-drawn letter from the president unless you're a president of another country and you're signing documents or whatever, so it's pretty special.
Yeah.
So, John, when this was all happening, I mean, you did get your question answered, didn't you, John?
Yes. Among his many words of rhetoric over several minutes, he did answer the question.
He did answer the question. Okay. And it was interesting. I was watching this on the news, and at the point where you were thinking, no, there's no way he's serious about this, he actually turned to the podium and he was still talking to you, and he said, "What's the name?" And you said your name, right?
Yes, actually, he did say, "What's your name?" But it's as if he was talking to Kennedy.
Yes.
And I just answered, "Well, John Corpus." He's like, "No, her." And at that point, I just kind of gave up. I cracked a smile. I'm like, okay, now this is going everywhere but in the direction I wanted it to, and all focus was gone, and it was kind of funny.
So at that point, you obviously knew he was serious.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Kennedy, Friday was supposed to be your last day of school?
Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. And so that's the day you went. So you haven't been able to show this note to any of your teachers or anything yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So have you phoned your teacher at least and say, "Hey, I got a pretty cool note for you to read"?
I did.
You did? And what did she say, or he?
She said it was really cool.
Yeah. And I read somewhere that you're thinking about making a photocopy of it and giving it to your teacher. Is that true?
I am.
Good. And do you think she's going to put it up in your classroom or whatever?
Well, actually, she's not going to be there next year.
Oh, okay.
But she'll keep it.
And how about your friends? What are your friends saying right now? And I mean, you've been on TV and you've been on a lot of TV shows and everything. How are your friends handling this?
Well, one of my friends, Sophie, she screamed, and my other friends are very happy for me.
Yeah. And how are you? How about you, Kennedy? How are you handling all this attention?
It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so I'm doing as much as I can with it.
Wow. Well, John, it sounds like your daughter's handling this pretty well.
She is. She's a typical 10-year-old. When she gets off the phone here, she'll be back either fighting with her sister or just running around playing, and it will be out of her mind.
Yeah. Well, it's a great story, and I mean it's one of those things that doesn't happen a whole lot to people, and you guys are experiencing it right now with all the attention. And like I said, it sounds like you're handling it very well. And I really appreciate you being on the program today and sharing that experience with us.
Not a problem. You're very
welcome.
Thank you, Kennedy. Thank you, John. You guys have a great rest of the day.
You too, Wade.
All right. That's 10-year-old Kennedy Corpus and her father, John Corpus, from Wisconsin. And Kennedy received that note to her teacher from President Barack Obama. You're listening to Life Talk. My name is Wade Sorkin. We're back with more right after this.